Hello and welcome to the SME Focus Show powered by MTDCNC. I'm your guest host this week. I'm Mark Weymouth from the Sensor Specialist Plus Automation. Today I'm helping carry on the great work this show does in supporting UK manufacturing and highlighting SMEs. My guest today is a friend, Steve Parker. Steve helps the UK manufacturers to export, or perhaps I should say to get more exports with his business, Steve Parker ICD, or International Company Development. Steve also presents a 3-hour radio show on Black Country Radio every Friday afternoon, and he's a passionate supporter of the UK manufacturing sector. Hi, Steve. Welcome. Perhaps we can kick off
Hi, Mark.
by asking you a little. Perhaps we can kick off by asking you a little bit more about Steve Parker and Steve Parker ICD. What do you do?
Yeah, thanks. I've been actively involved in exporting and international trade since my early stages of my career. Get a real thrill from working with people globally. I help companies locally, nationally, and internationally, fundamentally to get stuff overseas through two companies, Steve Parker ICD, International Company Development, and EnterpriseLab Global. And much to my own surprise, as much as anybody who knows me, fundamentally a shy bloke from Starbridge who got thrown into exporting and international trade and loves working in overseas markets.
So Starbridge is obviously the heart of manufacturing historically. Is that where your passion for manufacturing comes from, your location, your good fortune at being a Black Country lad?
Yeah, it kind of comes from the Black Country because whenever I was a kid, we were surrounded by it. Our local shopping centre, the Maryhill Centre, used to be Round Oak Steelworks. And I suppose I never had, an affinity to it at that time other than being surrounded by it. But it also then developed when I really think about it. When I was in my teens, my brother's girlfriend's family ran a precision engineering manufacturing place in Oldbury. And he asked me if I wanted to earn some pocket money by cleaning it up. So every Saturday I hopped on my moped, in those days, a Yamaha FS1E, if people remember those, a fizzy Yam as we called it in the Black Country, and used to go and clean all the slurry and the swarf and everything from a precision engineering place. And that got in under my skin in every way form. I used to enjoy seeing what they were making there. And there was the smell of the slurry, and you cleaned your hands with Swarfiga and all those old brand names, and you picked the metal out of your shoes. And then in my career I've always worked for manufacturers. So I worked for manufacturers of ceiling fans, ceramic tiles, steel doors and partitions, architectural ironmongery. And since I started Steve Parker ICD in 2005, I've helped a number of manufacturers, and still do, get into overseas markets and increase stuff more. So yeah, I like seeing new products develop. I like seeing people's products and services appear overseas. I like beating worldwide competition, really. And that's still my thrill now. I've long since forgotten the the values and the profit margins. But when I go overseas, I'm forever looking at people, at places, and talking to people who I've dealt with now for a long period of time, and just know that we could, as a country, be doing significantly more. And you only need a small market share overseas to have a huge impact on your company. So we're not trying to change the world in terms of wanting major market shares. In manufacturing, there's a different kind. For example, as an illustration, couple of years ago, the first order we got for a manufacturer of trucks ended up being twice the turnover of their company. And then another simple example, I've got a magazine called The Business Influencer into USA. And when I started talking to the target and the partner who wanted to work with us, they said, well, Steve, it's not going to be as good as it was when we used to work together. We've only got 595 stores now. So the magazine is now in nearly 400 of them, and another 18 in Canada. So you can tell I just like, there's always a way of getting people into part of those markets. My specialist markets are the Middle East, the Far East, Australasia, USA, and parts of Africa, although I do a bit in Europe too.
Okay. You've clearly caught the bug for export, and that's been your life for quite a long time now. But what do you feel are the stumbling blocks for a new business, or let's say a new client, or even before that, what's the fear that prevents new clients going towards export?
I think there's a fear of, it's all really complicated. And some of that stems from, to be critical, government's export services organisation tell you all of the difficulties of it, rather than concentrating on the opportunities. Excuse me a second. So realistically, some of us, and there are a number of us, are just used to tackling language and culture and finding ways into the market, and are more comfortable taking people there. I help people by either advising them how to do it, showing them how to do it, or doing the work for them, which means I'm used to everything that they'll face along the way. I'm used to getting it there. I'm used to finding the right type of partner. I'm used to making sure they get paid. And I'm used to developing the relationships with multi-channel market entries and know where to find it. So we don't have to go through the man from the ministry anymore. And clients and companies can be really clear about everything that's likely to happen before we start, but not to the extent that they're put off. I can talk them through it. And if anything goes wrong, or when we face problems along the way, I'm used to tackling those things, and as I say, can motivate them. If I'm doing it for them, sometimes they can let me do all the work, the sales, the marketing, and all the rest of it, while they remain in control, and not have to worry about it too much. Otherwise I could have stood here and, to answer your question, giving you a whole load of reasons why they shouldn't. But I'm purely interested in helping people do it rather than why they can't, and share that enjoyment that I've got about seeing their products and services in the market somehow. It could be a tool maker who's working with who gets into manufacturers. It could be them getting their products and services into the markets themselves. Lots of routes into market, lots of ways of doing it. And I'm pretty sure that with the right attitude, we'll be able to get them to do it.
Okay, interesting. Many of us who know you say you've got a great face for radio, and obviously we know you through your radio show. You're going to step in to be a guest presenter for SME Focus. What are your plans? What do you think you bring to the show?
Well, you and a number of the other manufacturers are great supporters of the show, and thanks for doing that. Really appreciate it. I do a 3-hour show live on radio with music in between. I know you appreciate the tunes that go with it. We won't include that in this section, but there's a natural interest in people. There's a reality that I'm working with a number of businesses myself. I appreciate what they're going through, and we'll add my energy to their energy and their enthusiasm and try and persuade a few people to get in touch with them and to enjoy it. I'm just generally interested in people and their products and their companies, because that's why you do it and I do it in our business generally. That's why we like working with clients and solving problems with them and hearing why they started, what keeps them going, how they overcome the challenges that we all face every day, and share their story to as many people as we can, which is what you do with your manufacturing updates and what you do with the sensors that you provide, and what I do for a number of clients I'll tell you about before the end of this conversation. So I'm bringing lots of enthusiasm and real interest to them.
Okay. The football season has started, so I guess I know partly the answer to my next question, but final question, what are your plans for the coming months?
Well, apart from, as you kindly mentioned, doing my escapism by commentating and reporting on football on Saturdays, work-wise, there's lots happening. I'm helping and continue to help. Exciting times for a textile designer and manufacturer. I'm getting them into or us, as I should say, probably, into the Gulf and the Middle East region. We've had some good inquiries this week with top interior designers for getting throws and blankets and cushions and things like that into hotels and commercial buildings and apartments and villas in the whole of the Gulf, including a good inquiry this week that is from a UAE partner who's going to get it into Saudi Arabia. I've got some other interiors products, some partition systems and some other steel products into various parts of the Gulf. It'll be nice to see them going. I'm helping to turn around a company that manufactures in Cradley and was doing really well, and then they were a victim of fraud and IP copy and things like that. But fundamentally, really great product, top man who's survived everything that's been thrown to him. So I'm going to sort that company out and get them into various overseas markets. Lots happening in the Middle East region. I'm also working with a new fashion designer. I'm just getting them some investment, which will enable them to expand globally and grow in the UK and overseas. And getting a sales, training and apprentice company into the Middle East as well. So lots happening, potentially, hopefully as well, about to start a program. We'll have news in the next week or so, which will enable me to give manufacturers and others 12 to 15 hours free help whilst I'm being paid for it. So there's lots of manufacturing growth in the Middle East and the Far East. There's a large movement away from people wanting to buy from China, or even in the Far East, they're trying to reduce their China bit. There's a lot of growth where UK manufacturers can help people by making it more efficiently and more honestly. And so lots of opportunities that I see every day of the week, because in my inbox every day of the week, I get media and opportunities that I can then help with the advisory work to directors, managing directors, or anybody who works in a company that wants to grow. So exciting times, and the football season started. So on a Saturday, I forget all of that and watch the likes of Halzo in town. And tomorrow, or whenever this comes out, it's the first round of the FA Cup, and I'm doing commentary on Dudley Town versus Stourbridge Town. A chance of a cup upset from a team 3 leagues below the one that visits them tomorrow afternoon. So all scary stuff, and and all possible from a shy bloke from Starbridge, so anybody can do it, really.
Okay, interesting, and certainly, let's hope that the advisory helps change life for a lot of SMEs in the area. So exciting stuff. If you'd like to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or if you'd like to appear in a future episode, please email us at inquiries@mtdcnc.com or contact myself, Stuart Whitehead, or Joe Reynolds. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And from me, Mark Weymouth, Plus Automation, cheers. Have fun.